Hi there. Welcome to Sunnyside Journals. I'm Catherine. I have another teensy tiny installation on Harriet, um, my domestic goddess book, my post-war domestic goddess, also known as Harriet, at my desk. It's just a dry throat cough. I am not sick. I wanted to show you the tin that I was talking about, the tin full of Nova Scotia recipes that somebody had lovingly saved and folded. And this is the tin that I found at an antique barn. It was quite reasonable, I think, for a tin this pretty. Look how pretty that is. And I love that it's Canadian. The good old Canadian family tea is just a beautiful, beautiful tin. And I mostly just use it for decor because it's so gorgeous. Anyhow, yeah, I bought it because I just wanted the tin. I won't shove it shut anymore because it's hard to see how. But this was so light, and at the time it was so packed in so tight. When I bought it, I honestly thought I was just buying an empty tin, and then it was just full of treasure. Oh, there's still one in there. What's in here? Johnny cake. Johnny cake. Hot oven, served with milk topping. Apple dumpling. Cute. I'll put that in here. Anyhow, it just that made it even more precious. All these things that were inside my Morse's Standard tea, and that it even was bilingual back then. But that doesn't surprise me for Nova Scotia. Huge French-speaking community in Nova Scotia. Not unusual at all. Now, I'm sort of... I started reminiscing and going through this bag because I hadn't looked through it in quite a while. And it really has been inspiring me on what I want to put inside Harriet. And it's also giving me an idea of what I want, how worn out I want my pages to look, because as best I can tell from the newspaper articles that were tucked in there, like this one is 1966. That calendar I showed you the other day was 1940. This is all these little special things are the exact era that I want for my book. And so I'm sort of looking at how worn out these are. Oh, look at that. Morse's Tea and Coffee. I guess this was their own version of a red rose tea card. The Brook Bond tea card. In Canada, they were red rose tea cards. Anyhow, so this is sort of what I want. Oh, look at this. Isn't that awesome? That's going to go in. 9-date turnovers, 39 cents. Wow. So this is pretty well how grungy I want everything to look. I was thinking, oh, maybe I should put some nice papers in. And they will be nice, but I'm going to make them look like they've been through the ringer. Let's see if there's a year on this one. Wow, chocolate cake, fries, cocoa. Is there a date? Is there a date? Oh, another one from 66. Very cool. Anyhow, so this is how did you get in there? What's this? Oh, I think I was just keeping all my cute little things together that I found from other sources. Oh, no, you know what these are? These are out of my mom's recipe tin. I have my mom's recipe tin. And these were the leftover things in my mom's recipe tin that I didn't necessarily want to keep for myself. I kept all her handwritten recipes. I've got those. But for whatever reason, she had tucked these away. And I thought, I can use these in... I remember her making those teriyaki glazed ribs. What year is that? For the TV and stereo. I don't think there's a... No. Can't be that old. It's got one of our newfangled postal codes on it, so it's at least 70s. I think it was 70s we got those new postal codes. But this phone number here doesn't have an area code. None of the phone numbers have area codes. So it's older. It's vintage, but not antique. Anyhow, okay, these are these will be cute to buck up your back. Oh my. Microwave hints. Mushroom stuffed steak rolls. Oh my. Anyhow, so yeah, I'm going to be taking my inspiration and using some things from this. I made a list, and of course now it's downstairs. I have plans so far to put 9 signatures into this journal. And I think I'm going to try to have a different theme for each signature, so that this, although it says New American Cookbook, so that this book covers everything that a housewife would need. So I'm going to have a signature on, of course, cooking and preserving, a signature on sewing, a signature on child rearing, a signature on home decor, a signature on, that sort of thing. So, and of course I have the list downstairs. But like I said, I anticipate that this is just going to be short and sweet right now. I have been so preoccupied with sewing face masks, fabric face masks. Hold on. These ones haven't been pressed yet, but I've been making face masks for our local nursing home. Just using up what I have. I used up all my thin elastic, and now I'm onto my 3/8 of an inch elastic. But beggars can't be choosers. They'll still hold it on your ear, and this is actually very good elastic. I wish it was thinner, but it does the job. So I've raided, I've been raiding my craft fabrics. Fortunately, I saved all of my mother had beautiful, beautiful white bed sheets that actually never got used. I don't know why she bought them all, because she actually had her favorites. She had some that were yellow with roses on them, and she had another set that were pink with roses on them, and she always switched between the yellow and the pink. But she had a linen closet full of beautiful 100% cotton sheets. So I washed those up, and I've been using those as the backing, and then using some fun fabric as the front for those face masks for the nursing home. So, okay, let's get you trimmed. Anyhow, I'm going to do one tiny little thing here. Then I think I'm going to get started on choosing pages for Mrs. Harriet here. And then I'll turn on the camera again, and we can get started on my plans for making journaling cards and that out of some really cool and fun things. Now, what I want to do just now, this will just take a minute, but you know what? We might as well have a visit while we take a minute. These, the ends of the spine are showing their age, and I just want to give them a little bit of support. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to glue in a little bit of rickrack right there and along the bottom, and I'm going to let it peek out the top so it looks cute, and that will give a bit of support to this fabric here. The seams are now, they're good. I'm not worried about those at all, especially because they'll still get another layer of fortification when I put my text block in. So this is good. Now I just want to give this a little sort of for two reasons: to support it, and it's going to look pretty. And so I want to use rickrack, and I think I want, I actually want white, because I want it to match with the illustration on the front. I have teeny tiny white here. I have all this rickrack. I'm telling you, except for this one, that's all from thrifted sources. That's all from raiding my thrift stores. Isn't that amazing? Some of them have never been opened. Look at this. Never been opened. Brand new. But people buy it, and thank goodness they redonate when they don't use it. This one I did buy. I got this at Walmart, but I wanted specifically rainbow because I'm going to be making some rainbow themed junk journals. Who knows? I might get to them now. However long this self-isolation for the nation goes on for, I could be doing my rainbow journals next. So I have that. I think this is the one I want. This is just too new looking. I think I would have to tea dye that and grunge it up a bit. But this one is already perfect. Hold on, let me show you before I start putting things away. See how this one, it's a little bit older. It's creamy now rather than this diamond white. It's that lovely creamy color, and I think that goes much nicer with how aged this text looks rather than the white. This white rickrack, it reminds me of celebrities who over bleach their teeth. I don't know why people think that looks good. They open their mouth and they're like Ross from Friends, these gleaming white teeth. Yes, you want white teeth, but oh my goodness, tone it down a bit. Anyhow, sorry. Oh my goodness, don't be judgy, Catherine. Don't be judgy. So I'm going to use the softer one. Let's see. So we'll do that right now, and then I'm going to turn off the camera and get back to work on choosing papers. Now, are you flat? You are nice and flat. Sometimes rickrack can get a little bit curly. All right, you're good. So what I'll be doing is putting it right near the edge there, like this. Here, let me tape it down so it stays for a second so I can show you what it is that I'm planning to do. So see how it will stick out like that. I thought about running it all the way around the edge of the book, but I don't want to bulk it up, and this really would... I've got other ways I want to bulk up this book, and I don't necessarily want to bulk it up with rickrack, although I love rickrack. All right. Let's see. Now, I especially want these little sort of little shoulder areas supported. So I think what I'm going to do is curve it under, along, in there, and then out again. And that way, use your imagination. Use your imagination and imagine that I have to cover up this portion. I don't want to cover up these, but if I have a little tiny tuck spot end paper, see how it'll go underneath it, and you're not going to see that raw edge eventually. So that's my plan. That's my plan. Let's see. So how long do I need you to be? I need you to be that long. So. Oh, and then when I'm done, I need to remember to show you the ruffle that I found. I'm so excited about this ruffle. So excited. Where did my bag go? There's my bag. Love recording. Alrighty, so Fabri-Tac, where are you? You're good. Yep, you're good. Come on, Fabri-Tac. Yes, I'm still working on getting the dregs out of this bottle. For what we pay for Fabri-Tac up here. Oh my goodness. Oh, I know what that is. I gotta remember to tell you what all these are. Fabri-Tac is quite expensive up here. And our dollar is plummeting right now. Thank you, coronavirus. It was bad enough, and now it's abysmal. I think they said yesterday our Canadian dollar was 68 cents American. Yikes. Alrighty. Hold on. I'm going to use my my olive pick that I donated from my martini stash. So that right here and right here will give it some nice added support. This will be covered by the, if you remember, this is actually shorter than the end papers. So that side of the rickrack will be covered by the text block when it gets glued in. Okay. Let's see. Look how cute. Isn't that cute? Just sticking out there like a little detail. Very cute. All right, let's do the top. So up where we live in Ontario, they just listed, it goes into effect tonight at midnight, the essential services they're allowed to stay open, and everything else needs to close. Quite frankly, I wish we would just go right ahead and adopt what the UK is doing, and just rip this Band-Aid off and get rid of this virus. They say if everyone would stay home, the virus could be eradicated in 14 days. The problem is that we can't stay home. There will still be people who have a heart attack or need stitches or, or for whatever reason, have to go out because the doctors would need to be doing the stitches for the person who needed stitches. Do you see what I mean? And then, of course, there will always be people that go, I don't know what the big deal is. Everyone's overreacting. And then they go around like Typhoid Mary, infecting everyone. But if it were possible for everyone to go into their house, close their door, and not come out of their house for 14 days, I saw a scientist interviewed. It would literally eradicate the virus. Stop it cold. When you stop the human interaction, you stop the spread. Anyhow, so our province is mandating some new extra measures, which I'm glad about, but I don't think they're strong enough. This list was still way too long for my liking of what they considered essential. There were things on that list I don't think are essential. And I certainly would have no problem if if you had to designate one person to be the person going out, and then somehow they could figure out a way for your day at the grocery store, that sort of thing. So, say you're odd and even numbers on the street or whatever, however they determine, I would be perfectly fine with that. I want rid of this virus. I want our elderly and our compromised people to not be living in terror. I'm certainly not comfortable about it. I'm 60. So I am in the zone that they say needs to be careful. But I have healthy lungs. But I do know people that don't. I am related and love many, many asthmatics in my family. Then that's a chronic lung disease. And my mother has severe COPD. She's a goner. If it gets into her nursing home, she's a goner. So, anyhow, so we're my husband's work is an essential work. His work cannot stop, or we would have mayhem. So he's trying to limit his going in and letting the younger people handle them for the most part. But when you own the company, there's things you still need to do. There's, for example, paychecks need to be signed and banking needs to be done. And when you're the boss, you have to go in and do it. All right, let's take a look. Oh, I love it. Okay, I just get way too excited about little things like this. So look how cute that is. And cute. It actually looks like some little teeth sticking up there. You know what? I should show you my plans. I'm hoping, because there's going to be 9 signatures. Where are you, Liberace? Come on. Because there's 9 signatures, I'm hoping to actually have a tab on the front page of each signature. And so I want to make some good use of Liberace. I also want to make good use. I have a couple of those 70s sewing binders, the cute ones that are yellow. So I'm going to use one for cutting, and one someday will become a junk journal. So I'm going to, I want you You. Oh, I don't want to pinch my fingers. Come on. There we go. And I want you. Now these, I loved how in this Better Homes and Gardens cookbook, the inside pages are all important charts so that you can quickly access it. What do I cook my roast beef at? What do I, how long do I cook biscuits or muffins or, everything that a dutiful home chef needs to know. So, and see how the inside page, it's got the yellow banner here, and then it's got the cool, beautiful end paper. I'm sort of going to do the opposite. And what I'm going to do is, there's the cool, beautiful end paper. I'm going to make a tuck spot here. So I'm going to cut it here, and then this is going to be a tuck spot. I'm going to make it as small as I can to cover what got ripped and still include that paper. So probably to there. And so that way you can still see the banana bread. Somebody owes me some banana bread, I think. I'm just saying. And then over here, I'm going to use one side of the table settings and entertaining, because every good 60s housewife entertained. I remember when my mom would have her ladies group from church over, the ladies, the coffee club, they called it. And once a month, they all took turns hosting the coffee club. And it was the only time, the house I grew up in, it was the only time the house smelled like coffee. And even back then, I loved the smell of coffee when my mother would percolate coffee. Because my parents were tea drinkers. They were very much, very British in their way. And I know Brits drink coffee, don't get me wrong. But my gran and granddad, right out of London, the kettle was constantly going for tea. And my parents likewise. But the house, if it was my mom's turn to host the church ladies coffee club, the day before, my dad would take the furniture out of our living room, and someone from church would drop off, like somebody's husband, whoever I guess the last hostess was, would deliver to the house, I think like 6 or 8 card tables with folding chairs. And they'd get set up in our living room of our house. And my mother had the little luncheon tablecloths, hand embroidered, that she did herself. Hand embroidered luncheon tablecloths would go onto the card tables, and napkins and place settings, and our living room would be transformed into like this beautiful ladies' cafe. And then on the day of the ladies' coffee club, of course, like I said, our house would smell like coffee for the first time ever. Or like once a year, it would smell like coffee and tea. And my mother would get out all our teacups, because she had lots of teacups, and the teacups and saucers would come out. And she had a few beautiful teapots. And I still have 2 of her teapots. And the house would just be this, it was just amazing to me as a little girl. And then watching these ladies show up for coffee club, and they would be dressed, they all looked like Laura Petrie, they'd have pearls on and a hat on and brooches and high heels. And then they'd have coffee and lunch and talk about plans for the UCW, the United Church Women, because they would, hold bazaars and do fundraising for the church, and they'd make all their plans at their coffee club luncheons. And oh my goodness, I just love, and I would just sort of hide back down the hall so that I was out of sight, but that I could just still watch and listen to them and listen to their voices and see all the trays of sandwiches and squares and cookies going out and jello mold. So that, what a magical memory for me when my mom would when it was my mom's turn to host the coffee club for the UCW. I loved it. Anyhow, look at this. How cute is that? I think that's going to be, I think I'm going to put that on the front of the first signature and on the back of the last signature. Hold on, let me set it up so you can imagine with me. Look how cute that's gonna look. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited about this ruffle. And I like that it's sort of red and white and this is blue, so because, you know, the New American Cookbook. And it'll look nice with this now, I see. That's gonna look beautiful. I'm toying whether I should. It really already is almost a creamy color. I don't know if the camera is picking that up. This is not a diamond white. Let me see if I can find some paper that is a diamond white. This already is. There we go. See? It's not. Yeah, I think it's fine. I'm not going to play with it with any tea dye. I'm going to leave it as it is. It's beautiful. And that is going to go. Now I want to see what I can do about finding some more actual page dividers. I'd like to maybe have a different one for each signature so that it doesn't, so it's not matchy-matchy at all. I don't want matchy-matchy. I really want this to be a little frenetic, a little chaotic. I want it to look like this, like Harriet used this book and used it and depended on it for when she was hosting coffee club for the UCW, or if she was needing to find out how to make a liniment for a child who's got the croup. That's my plans. Anyhow, so just a short little visit today. I'm going to take a break from sewing fabric masks. My hands, wrists, and elbows are utterly throbbing. Thank goodness for Tylenol. I'm going to clean up. I have just sewing fabric little off, you know, from clipping the corners before you turn it inside out. I've got little tiny triangles all over the floor in my studio here.